take a step back before I get all up in your
remember, because I don't remember. I remember every bit of this.
You're the dudes holding on the phone line. Your voice will be heard, sir.
Next caller, please.
Jerry's gonna get him.
Fantasy sports and politics. Fantasy sports and politics. Fantasy sports and politics. Fantasy sports and politics.
Listeners are asking questions about this week's games, not Jerry's personal beef. So what's your thought?
Hello. How's everybody doing? It's me, Mr. FSP, doing what I do for you all day, every day. I am on the air, and I got a little bit to say today. Has the past week or two been a drag for you since the Super Bowl is over? Me too. But college basketball, free agency, the combine, and other things have crept in a little bit and taken the place and fulfilled some of my missing parts, so to speak. So on today's show, the biggest missing part is the quarterback. There are some highly touted, big name quarterbacks that will be available. They will be available. And because they're available, here's my question. What does a team do at the top of the draft this year? You have bona fide 5, maybe 6 QBs in this draft that could start for your team. Now, we have growing pains, yes. But can they start as soon as they are drafted? Also, yes. So what is a team to do? What is a team to do? Well, I'm bringing my co-host because we all know JT has an opinion on everything. I think his team even is in the market for a QB, believe it or not. JT ATM Money, you got your Cincinnati Bearcat sweater on and a Cleveland Brown hat. I'm missing the connection, but what you got?
Let me ask you, where's Cincinnati at?
Oh my God! Now you're gonna be just an Ohio guy.
Thank
You're gonna pick everything Ohio.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Ohio. I'm representing Ohio, college and pros. So it is what it is.
Okay. All right. I mean, hey, to each his own, but I want your take. First of all, let's talk about who's available, free agency, as well as possible trade. Right?
Okay.
Let's rank them. Okay. And if I miss somebody, back me up. Russell Wilson, Kirk Cousins, Justin Fields, oh my gosh, there's another quarter. Jimmy Garoppolo.
I don't consider him a quarterback, but okay.
Jimmy Garoppolo is a quarterback.
I know, but
I mean, whether you consider it or not, he is a quarterback.
He's inconsequential to me. So he's so
rank him.
Rank him
as far as trading or signing a free agency from 1.
What's the difference?
To
difference.
5.
Trade's a difference than free agents.
What I mean by that is, who would you go? You're the GM.
Okay.
How would you go after these people whether trade or through free agency, doesn't matter. It just matters as we believe all of these players are available
Okay.
to move.
All right. I got him rated.
Okay.
I got to go with my boy first.
Who, Kurt?
I got to go with my boy Kirk Cousins first. Absolutely.
Okay.
In my opinion, he's the better passer of all four of these quarterbacks. He's a better passer. I put Fields second because he's got legs and he uses his legs, and he's, some people think he's a small quarterback. He's 6'3".
Who, Justin Fields?
Yeah.
No one thinks he's small.
Well, a lot of people, because he runs a lot, think that he's a small quarterback.
Okay.
He's not a small quarterback. He's 6'3", and you can see the potential there. Okay, you can see the potential there. I mean, everybody say he was misused in Chicago. I have to agree. I don't think the offensive coordinator / coach or whoever has given him what he needs to succeed, just like a Brock Purdy. Now, Brock Purdy and Justin Fields changed places. Oh boy. Oh.
So you think Justin Fields in San Fran would have the same result, if not better, than Brock Purdy?
Yeah, absolutely. I think.
Okay.
I'm not discounting Brock Purdy, but I think Justin Fields is a better quarterback.
Okay. So you got Justin Fields number 2.
I got Justin Fields number 2. I got Russell Wilson a close 3 behind him, because over the last few years he hasn't proven to be what he was earlier in Seattle. So there's question marks with Russell Wilson if he's lost it or not. Okay. Can he resurrect his career? Okay. Because,
okay.
Wait a minute.
Go ahead. I'll say go ahead, bro. Go.
The reason I'm saying this, and I'll give you some reason why I'm saying this. He had Paul Hackett, okay, who's supposed to be a great mind in the offense, aka Aaron Rodgers and all. But that was an extremely bad fit. Extremely bad fit. Then it was Sean Payton, who's supposed to be the quarterback whisperer.
He's not.
Okay. I mean, he had Drew Brees, and he resurrected that franchise's offense and that team. So now he gets Russell Wilson, a more mobile quarterback, supposedly a not done quarterback, and he has mixed results. Mixed results with Russell Wilson. Okay. So when you're a quarterback, a veteran quarterback, and you have a bad year, okay, you can chalk it up as a bad year. Then you back it up with another shaky year. The book is that he's not what he used to be. And not saying that's the right mindset, but the book is that he's not. And you know how fleeting how minds in the NFL, the upper echelon minds, are fleeting, meaning you got to show me on the field, and Russell Wilson hasn't shown that. So I got him.
I mean, I've heard this many times. There's only one player left.
Yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo, number 4.
Okay.
So I mean, he's going to be suspended for the first 2 games, which
Yeah.
it doesn't make a difference because he's a backup. He's considered a backup now, and that's just because when I'm talking about with Russell Wilson, he's had very sketchy years as being a starting quarterback, which now puts him in the category as a backup.
Okay. So I find it interesting
Yeah.
that the only two quarterbacks that have ever gone to a Super Bowl, and one of which has won a Super Bowl, you have as the least desirable of the four.
What have you done?
That is very interesting. Now, I would say your rankings are they're just interesting. I don't agree with them.
Okay, no problem.
I think
You asked me and I gave you.
I know. I think you make a compelling argument for Kirk Cousins being the better passer out of all four. That's compelling. That's a really good argument because even though Captain Kirk is a check down quarterback, he can throw the ball deep. He makes good decisions with the ball, but he also throws a lot of interceptions too. However, he has continually failed to move his teams past a certain point. I mean, he's only like 4-30 something in games past 8 p.m. ever. He took the team. Did he take Minnesota to the playoffs in the last 6 years? I don't know, because last year they didn't make the playoffs. They were in contention. The year before that, yeah, they did. They did because they lost to the Giants.
Yep,
they did.
Mm-hmm.
One playoff appearance in 6 years in his entire career, because he never took he took Washington playoffs one time. So 2 playoff appearances in a 6 years in Minnesota, 11-year career so far. Okay. He's also the oldest out of all 4, which, again, you put him number 1, and I find that interesting. I don't agree with it, though. I have him number 2 because of his abilities to pass the ball and see the field. His decision-making is not that great, but out of the 4, I say he has the second best decision-making. I have Russell number 1 because even though he's seen two different offensive coordinators and offenses in the last 2 years since leaving Seattle.
He's a vet.
Wait a minute. He was not set free to play his brand of ball until halfway through the season, where they made the decision, hey, if you don't do XYZ, we're getting rid of you. Because if you noticed last year, that's when he started connecting with Cortland Sutton all the time, and they started winning. When Sean Payton released the reins, so to speak, week 6 is when they made the ultimatum to him. Since that point, he was cooking. Now, he tried to spread the ball around. Jerry Jeudy was inconsistent. Cortland Sutton was the only one. And in his first year, we got to remember this. You got to remember this, because you said he's been suspect. In his first year, how long did he have Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Tim Patrick, and I don't even know who their 4th receiver was. He had him for what, 3 or 4 games? And he was trying to make magic in a system that didn't fit his abilities with a coach that was definitely not a good head coach. But we're going to say he fell off. You go down to your number 4 receiver as your new number 1 for 10 games? Come on, man. You got to give him a little bit of slack. But I have him at number 1 because I believe he still has the arm strength. I didn't say he questioned his arm strength. I didn't say he questioned his arm strength.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is Russell Wilson still has arm strength. He still has good decision making.
Okay.
He still has mobility.
Okay.
And he's a proven winner and champion. 2-time Super Bowl appearances, 1 Super Bowl win. And in the second Super Bowl that they lost, that was the year Seattle decided to let him throw the ball a lot more. At number 3, I have Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh my God. Ugh.
I have Jimmy Garoppolo because Jimmy Garoppolo, again, has taken a team to the Super Bowl. He makes wise decisions with the ball. Does he have the best arm? No. Does he present a scrambling challenge? Not really. But his experience puts him above Justin Fields in my book, even though he has issues staying healthy. That's why I was thinking, do I put Fields above Garoppolo? But then I thought, Fields has been getting hurt lately too. Excuse me. Jimmy G is a pretty serviceable quarterback, and I agree with you. He might be a backup quarterback now, considering the youth movement in the NFL. Now, that leaves me with Justin Fields, number 4. And the crazy thing is, Justin Fields is the top trade available quarterback currently. Why? Because Chicago Bears are the first overall pick. And there are a lot of teams that need quarterbacks. But Justin Fields, you know what his record is in the past, 4 years? I'll put it this way. How long has Kenny Pickett been in the NFL? 2 years, right?
Ooh. Justin Fields been in the league 3 years.
No, Justin Fields been in the league for 4.
4 years.
No, you're right. You're right, 3, because this is his 4th year coming up. You're right. But how many wins does he have in comparison to Kenny Pickett, who's only been in the league 2 years and only started a year and a half?
Okay. Talk to me.
Kenny Pickett has twice the wins as Justin Fields.
Okay.
Now, Justin Fields, as you say, he's a big kid. He's athletic. But another stat that you got to consider, he was sacked once every 8 dropbacks. When the backup quarterback, Paget, was in for the 4 games or whatever, he was sacked once every 28 dropbacks. He didn't throw the ball 30 or 40 times a game. Paget didn't, because Chicago was a run-heavy team. So I think he got maybe 4 or 5 sacks in the 4 or 5 games he played. But that's just a sack a game versus a sack every 8 passing attempts.
Different quarterbacks.
That's my point. That is exactly my point. A different quarterback. So what I'm saying is Paget got rid of the ball, read the defense, and was better. And Dave, who's a Chicago Bears fan, he said he loved Paget when they were doing preseason. And it got me thinking, okay, what about this kid? And he believed in him.
Well, let me interject this there. Okay.
Wait a minute. Hold that thought real quick, because I'm almost done talking about why I got him at 4. I don't think Justin Fields' upside is better than any of the 3 I just mentioned. That includes Jimmy Garoppolo. The only really good upside Justin Fields has is his youth. This is his make or break year. Does he fully understand how to be an NFL quarterback? The other 3 do. We might not like, some things that they do, but all 3 of them understand what it takes and how it is to be an NFL quarterback and play from the pocket as well as move around. Because Garoppolo could scramble too. Kirk isn't a big scrambler, but he scrambles. But all 3 know how to play from the pocket, from the head up. That's the point. I don't think Justin Fields has learned how to do that. I don't think Justin Fields will learn how to do that. And I think he's destined to be a backup quarterback for the next 4 years or so. Because once his mobility goes away, he's Cam Newton after the Super Bowl. That's why I got him at number 4. Go ahead, interject.
So if they have so much faith in Paget, why isn't he mentioned as being the starting quarterback in Chicago? And I'll say this also. And you said it yourself. When Paget was in there, they were running the ball more. Okay,
No. I didn't say they ran the ball more with Paget.
Yes, you
I
did.
said Chicago is a run-heavy team.
You said they were running more run-heavy when Paget was in there.
No, I didn't say when Paget was in. I just said they were a run. Chicago is a run-heavy team.
They were run the ball more because Paget was in there, and he wasn't passing the ball as much as Justin Fields. They had more faith in Justin Fields passing the ball. Even though they ran the ball, they passed the ball more with Justin Fields. So you have more opportunities to drop back and to get sacked because you're passing the ball more. Okay, you're leaving yourself open to be sacked more when you start passing the ball more. Okay, that's what I'm saying. I do believe Justin Fields didn't have the weapons other than DJ Moore this year that Kurt had, that Russell had, because Russell had weapons. Oh, yes, he did. How about Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf?
You talking about Seattle. He wasn't in Seattle last year or the year before. He was in Denver where the receivers got hurt.
Well, then,
years.
Okay.
So come on now.
Got hurt. Okay. But when Russell had weapons, he was able to pass the ball. When Kurt, who has weapons, and one of the best wide receivers, not the best wide receiver in all of football, along with a tight end, along with a second wide receiver in either Addison this year or last year or the prior year was Adam Thielen, Kurt performed. So I don't know what you're saying. I have no idea why you think that Justin Fields is number 4. Justin Fields only had DJ Moore for 1 year. He didn't have any studs to pass to. He didn't. So
Cole Kmet isn't a viable threat.
No.
Tight end.
No,
so
he's an all right tight end.
Okay,
but he's not a George Kittle.
But Jerry,
wait a minute.
We're talking about last year. We're not talking about years past. We're talking about last year.
He is not George Kittle. He is not Travis Kelce. He's not any.
I didn't think he was.
Okay. So tell me what weapons Justin Fields had other than DJ
The same
Moore.
weapons that Paget had when Fields was out. And guess what? Kmet, Moore, they had a rookie wide receiver that showed up as well that Fields wasn't throwing the ball to.
Come on, man.
They had – wait a minute. You asked.
Are you serious? Are you going to tell us?
You said what weapons did he have?
He didn't have any weapons. He did not have any consistent weapons.
Okay, so let me put it this way. You're saying he didn't have any top line guys.
He didn't have any consistent.
And I get that.
I didn't say top. I said consistent weapons.
Well, the consistent weapons he did have, Paget used the same weapons and did more with them. So I don't understand what you're saying, that he didn't have weapons or consistent weapons, because the same inconsistent weapons that Justin Fields had, Paget had and did better.
That was a 3-4 game span? Okay. We're talking about a player that not having any consistent weapons over the first 2 years, 3 years of his career, and finally getting a decent wide receiver. And I think that wide receiver was able to get at least 1,000 yards. So that goes to show you that you give him a weapon he can use, he'll use it, and he can make that weapon effective. I'm talking about DJ Moore this year. All the other weapons were inconsistent this year. Okay.
But
over the
They
span.
use
You
oh my
can't.
goodness.
You can't, Victor. You can't judge a player over 4 games versus a season or seasons.
No. What
That's
I can do?
different.
No, you're right. The sample size of 4 versus the sample size of 12 or 13. You're right. I can't. But I can say the Bears got just as many wins with Paget as they in those 4 games than they did with uh, Justin Fields in 13. I can say that. So it's not a matter of the weaponry usage because Paget, I mean, it is a matter of weaponry usage because Paget used those weapons a lot more. You know how Dante Foreman scored those touchdowns? All of them were not rushing touchdowns. They were check downs. And getting the ball to Cole Kmet. Safety valve. He threw the ball to DJ Moore. He threw the ball to the rookie wide receiver. These are all the things that Justin Fields did not do. But to go off of what you're saying, Justin Fields is the hottest item in trade talks right now.
Absolutely.
And I'd say it's only because Chicago has the number 1 pick.
I don't think so. I think because he's a young quarterback. He's a very young quarterback with the ability that's been shown that other teams can say, well, if we have that guy, we can bring out what we see in that guy because because of why do you think there was a question of coaching in Chicago?
I'm about to bring Dave. Go ahead.
Why do you think there was they got rid of the offensive coordinator? He's over in Las Vegas, if I'm not mistaken. Because the coach had to make some changes because of his job. He's the only coach that was retained. I think they got rid of the offensive and defensive coordinator and other coaches on that team, and the head coach was the only one to survive. So you got to believe that they see that with the right coaching, that the potential of Justin Fields, who has an arm, who has legs, who can make throws downfield and check down if need be, needs to be around weapons, needs to be given a ample opportunity because in most eyes, he hasn't been given the proper opportunity in Chicago.
Okay. So with that being the case, let's put these quarterbacks in a new home.
Okay.
Right now, we know Minnesota, they're trying to re-sign Kurt, but Kurt wants $90 million over 2 years guaranteed, and he's 37 or 36.
That's a decent price.
Well, that's not what they're saying. They don't want to do it, and because of his age and things of that nature, tying that much money up at the quarterback position and not having a future. All right. So wait a minute. So there's a chance Minnesota's looking for a quarterback via trade, free agency, or draft. We know Atlanta's looking for a quarterback because Desmond Ridder is not the answer, nor Taylor Heineke. We know Jimmy Garoppolo is not going to be in Vegas, or we think he's not going to be in Vegas, and he's going to get cut sometime in June. It has been stated and supposedly factual. Denver's letting go of Russell Wilson. Those are 4 teams that need 4 new quarterbacks. But do any of these 4 quarterbacks we mentioned go to one of the other teams we talked about? Not to mention, how does this affect the quarterbacks that are coming out in the draft? How do you how do you rate the quarterbacks that are coming out of the draft this year? Caleb Williams, number one, is the consensus. There's a question if Washington's going to get Jalen Daniels or May from Carolina. So that's 3 quarterbacks that supposedly are going to go in the first round. You got Jimmy McCarthy or James McCarthy. You got Bo Nix. You got the guy I like, Penix. That's 6 quarterbacks. But we also got 4 that we both believe should be in the NFL. Now, we both agree Jimmy G might be a backup.
Yeah.
Right?
What have you done for me lately? And Jimmy G hasn't done much. So
I agree.
He's a backup.
I agree. So with those quarterbacks plus the rookies, where do they go? And based on the needs, you got the Patriots possibly looking for a quarterback, Washington possibly looking for a quarterback, Chicago possibly in the market for a quarterback. What happens? And let's also think about the fact that Chicago might draft a quarterback and keep Fields.
That ain't happening.
Well, I'm asking you the question.
That ain't happening. All right, let me go with my man Kurt. $45 million a year is cheap for a quarterback. Is $45 million? That's
mid-range level because that's the amount that what's my man from Detroit?
Jared Goff.
Jared Goff. That's the price range.
Yeah, that's not an exorbitant amount. When they talk about $60 million for Dak, come on, man, really? And speaking of that, Dak, what has Dak done? I mean, every time he gets in the playoffs, he shows up bad. He's like he's an NFC version. And this is my opinion. You may disagree because I know you love this guy. This is my opinion of Dak. Dak is the NFC version of Lamar Jackson, in my opinion. Okay? Dak is the NFC version of Lamar Jackson. Okay? I know, like that's your boy. You may just.
He's not my boy.
Okay.
I don't swear by Lamar Jackson. I just think Lamar Jackson. I believe Lamar Jackson has made strides this year. That's what I've said. He's made great strides this year, and I believe he'll continue to do so. But that is your comparison.
That's Emperor has new clothes. I'm telling you right now. That's from Lamar Jackson. Emperor has new clothes. You may think he has, but he's the same dude. Okay.
Well,
same dude.
Just to answer your question, the difference is Dak's contract was done 2 years ago, and he's due $60 million this year. That's the difference.
Well, this
2 years ago, he did the contract.
This is my opinion. $45 million a year for a quarterback is not a lot. It's a lot, but it's not the really going price for top flight quarterbacks. So when Kurt's asking, I know he's 37, 38 years old. Okay. And never won a Super Bowl. Okay.
Never won a playoff game.
Oh, he's won a playoff game. Kurt's won a playoff. He's won a playoff game. Okay.
I'll fact check now.
Okay. He's won a playoff game.
I don't know.
How about the one?
But go ahead.
Okay. So what I'm saying is that how about the one against New Orleans when Stephon Diggs caught that pass and won the game?
That wasn't him. That was your boy from remember, Kurt didn't finish that season. It was old boy that's at Houston. Was he at Houston this year? Career backup. I forgot his name.
Okay.
That wasn't Kirk Cousins.
Okay. I'm pretty sure Kurt won at least one playoff game. Okay, because he's been in a lot of playoff games. So I gotta believe he at least won one playoff game.
He ain't been in a lot.
Hold on a minute here. Anyway, $45 million. I think it's a good chance Kurt goes back to the Minnesota Vikings. If not,
1-4. 1-4 in the playoffs.
okay, that's relative to Lamar Jackson. That's relative to Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson.
Relative?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Lamar Jackson has only won 2 playoff games. Okay. 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 Hey, I'm just saying. Okay. And everybody raised about Lamar Jackson. I think Kirk Cousins is way better passer than Lamar Jackson. By far. Not even close. Okay.
Okay.
Maybe he hasn't had the team success around him, but he's the way better passer and way better quarterback outside of running the football than Lamar Jackson. Okay. Who won the MVP this year. Okay. Well, okay. No problem. This was Lamar.
Has Kurt ever won MVP? Much less twice? Okay, but go ahead. Of the league.
Let me put it has Lamar passed for over 4,000, 5,000 yards?
Yeah.
5,000. Has Lamar passed
4,000 yards twice? Not that many quarterbacks have thrown over 5,000 yards, Jerry. That's a huge feat. So it's not that many that have done that.
Has Kurt done that?
We'll go to the Google machine. But go ahead, finish.
Anyway, what I'm saying is this. I think Kirk Cousins goes back to the Minnesota Vikings. If not, then let me see what teams can use Kirk Cousins. There's a lot of teams that use Kirk Cousins because Kirk Cousins is a vet, and he
put
can
him somewhere.
He can fit into a lot of systems. He can fit in. He can fit in. Oh my God, Tennessee. He can fit in Tennessee. He can fit
over the guy they just drafted to be their starter.
He can fit in Tennessee. Yes.
Okay. I mean, let
me ask you something. Would you rather have a quarterback, as in the guy from Kentucky? His name escapes me for now, or Kirk Cousins? Okay.
I'm going to stick with the young gun because I'm trying to build the team.
Okay.
And I'm going young, and that's why Tannehill's not there or not going to be there.
Well,
that's the other quarterback I forgot to add to the mix to make my 5 was Tannehill. But go ahead.
Tannehill's the backup now. He's not a starting quarterback anywhere. He's a backup now. Okay.
Cousins has thrown for 4,000 yards in 7 seasons and never over 5,000.
How close has he gotten to 5,000? Let me put it that way.
Oh my God, dude! It don't matter. He never threw for 5,000.
Okay, no problem. But he's thrown in the high 4s. Okay, let me put it that way. Okay, because that's the type of quarterback he is. Okay. These guys have to go to a pass happy offense, really, and I think Tennessee is going to change into a more passing offense, more dynamic offense. I think he'll fit in Pittsburgh, but I don't think that's going to happen. He can fit in Atlanta, but I don't think that's going to happen.
His wife's from Atlanta. Mike.
Well, there's other people from Atlanta too, and that's going to be.
Yeah, Justin Fields is from Atlanta.
I know that. That's what I was going to get to that. Okay, I'm telling you right now what I'm thinking, in my opinion, where Kirk Cousins can fit. Kirk Cousins, in my opinion,
just give me one landing space because we got 3 other.
Okay, I'm going to tell you this,
man.
Kirk Cousins can fit in almost any situation that needs a quarterback because he's that versatile quarterback. Number 2, I got.
Wait a minute. I just need one location, bro. You said Tennessee's the one location?
Okay, Tennessee. I'll give Tennessee. I'll put that out there. Okay. Justin Fields is a different story. I know you want one. I'll give you one. I have him go home to Atlanta. Okay. And to me, the better of the 2 supposedly quarterback whisperers would be in Atlanta. Okay. For the simple reason, I think more of Zach Robinson as a quarterback friendly coach than Arthur Smith in Pittsburgh, okay, where I think Russell Wilson would fit in Pittsburgh, okay? And Jimmy Garoppolo, you can put his ass anywhere because he's a backup. In my opinion, Jimmy Garoppolo's a backup. He's a interception or not interception. He's a turnover waiting to happen because anytime Jimmy Garoppolo has been put in pressure situations throughout his career, the majority of time is a turnover. The majority of the time. I'm not saying all the time. The majority of the time.
No, I got it.
Majority of the time, it's a turnover. So I can't rely on Jimmy Garoppolo as being a consistent starting quarterback. I think he's a consistent backup quarterback. So you can put Jimmy Garoppolo anywhere. I got Russell Wilson going to Steelers, Justin Fields going to Atlanta, and I got Kirk Cousins if he doesn't wind up in back up in Minnesota, going to Tennessee.
Okay.
And Tennessee's is probably a far reach because of what you said in the rookie quarterback. But that's where I think he would be able to hook up with DeAndre Hopkins. And
Hopkins ain't going to be there. They're releasing him.
Okay. Hook up with Traylon Burks and teach that boy a few things about being a wide receiver with a good quarterback.
Okay. So I can see Fields going to Atlanta. So I'll give you that. But that will require some type of trade. I don't know if Atlanta wants to do it. They have the trade power. The second round or third round picks to do it. They're not going to give up a first round pick. But I'll put him there just because of what the parameters I gave you. Got to have one space. I got Russell going to the Raiders, staying within the division.
Horrible.
Not only because of staying in the division, but because he's going to be a stopgap quarterback for whoever they draft this year.
Wait a minute. The same situation that you talked about in Tennessee is in Vegas. About a young quarterback. Aiden O'Connell? Are you kidding me?
Aiden O'Connell is not the guy. Sullivan is the guy. Aiden O'Connell is not the – Antonio Pierce has already said they're looking at quarterbacks. They're going to give Sullivan an opportunity. Aiden O'Connell may or may not be there. So I don't know where you got Aiden O'Connell from.
Aiden O'Connell – when I get Aiden O'Connell from?
Meaning he stands a chance at the starting job. He doesn't.
He's got as good a chance as any of them. Any of them.
Nope. Not according to Antonio Pierce.
Okay.
If you looked at the pivot interview I posted between a week or so ago, Pierce basically states Sullivan is going to have an opportunity to be the quarterback, but they're looking at free agency. They're looking at the draft for their next quarterback. O'Connell is the only one. Sullivan is the only one that they plan to hold on to.
Let me put it this way.
So, wait a minute. Let me go back.
The offensive coordinator.
Oh my gosh, guy
from Chicago that got fired is in
Vegas. Yes, I know. So, doesn't matter to me. Neither one of us are the head coach. It's Antonio Pierce, and his words are his words. But I would also say I have Russell to Vegas for more than one reason. Sierra can start working there as well. Because if Russell is a stopgap quarterback, which I believe he would be if he goes to the Raiders, Sierra still can perform. She can still do her thing. And I think you want to have a quarterback that is experienced and can do the things that Russell can do with Devontae Adams. You don't want to waste this guy's last few years of being a top dog in the NFL. You mentioned going to freaking take Will Levis' spot in Tennessee. Again, I don't think that's going to happen because they're all in with this kid. But I could see Jimmy G becoming his backup. I could see Jimmy G becoming his backup. I really could. Kurt, if he does not stay in Minnesota and Russell does get traded to the Raiders and Fields does get traded to Atlanta, because I think, honestly, either Fields or Cousins go to Atlanta. One of the two go to Atlanta. I pick Fields along with you. But I also see Kurt literally, quite possibly, going to Pittsburgh. Or, here's a big shocker. I'm just going to put it out there. Coming back to DC. I think he would become, if Washington does not draft a top dog at quarterback with the second pick, right? I can see Kirk Cousins coming in and being the stopgap quarterback for whoever they do draft later on. I don't think they're going to roll with Sam Howell anymore. I don't think they will.
Come on, man. Really?
But
really,
I could see Kirk Cousins coming back to DC to finish his career. Also, a rumor that I heard this week was either Chicago trading with the Giants, sending Danny Dimes to Chicago for Justin Fields and some other things, but I'm not putting them in the equation because I also have Ryan Tannehill going to the Patriots.
okay.
That's what I got.
Okay.
Now,
You know, I there's a lot of things I to unpack there, and I can totally disagree with you, but I'm gonna be the bigger person here and just say, okay, that's your opinion. Yeah, that's your opinion, and we're gonna go with it. I'm not gonna try to dispute or put down any of the parts of what you, or unpack any of the parts or take away from any of the parts of what you just said. I'm just gonna say, okay, that's your opinion, no problem.
Okay. Now, with those moves that we just made, based upon the moves you just made, how does that impact the top quarterbacks coming out in the draft?
Well, the move that you just made, it makes a difference. The moves I just made doesn't make that much of a difference. For the simple fact that the first pick, the Chicago Bears, they traded away Justin Fields to the Atlanta Falcons. Okay, and then pick up either Caleb Williams or whatever quarterback they like, in the second pick. The second pick is what who has the second pick? Washington. Okay, Washington. And I got to in this instance, because the fact is you had Kirk Cousins going back. There ain't no way the Kirk Cousins go back to the Washington Commanders and the Washington Commanders in the second pick a quarterback. Ain't happening. It ain't happening.
Okay, it could.
It ain't happening. That makes absolutely no sense. Okay.
But didn't you just say that you weren't going to do that? You just said, I'm not going to unpack it. I'm not going to dispute it. It's just your opinion. But then now you just say, it's not going to happen.
But you didn't listen to what I just said. I said, I got to, because the fact is, what you just said, I got to do this. No way Kirk Cousins is going to go, because he's no dummy, and neither is his agent. He says, no way I'm going to go back to Washington when Washington has a second pick, and more than likely they're going to take a quarterback with a quarterback whisperer in Cliff Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury. There's no way. No way. Cliff
I mean,
Kingsbury,
it could be.
Cliff
You never know.
Kingsbury is better working with a young quarterback. So he can mold them in the way he wants to. Not an older quarterback, a young quarterback. So Washington, second pick, they pick a quarterback. Cliff Kingsbury can work with.
Who is what I'm asking. Remember, if we put these players in a certain place, that means these top quarterbacks coming out have to go somewhere.
May.
And I'm asking you, where does
I'm gonna say, because what they're saying is this: May is the second coming of Josh Allen. So if you have that type of potential coming out as the quarterback that is being compared to Josh Allen, who plays in the NFL right now and is one of the top quarterbacks, you think Cliff Kingsbury is not going to pound the table and say, not Jaden Daniels, give me Mr. May, and I can work wonders with him. Okay? That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I think May is going to go if Caleb Williams goes to Chicago, and there's no guarantee that Chicago is going to take him. We'll see how well he does in the combine, whether he participates or backs off or whatever he wants to back off in the combine, which is next weekend. Okay, then
So go ahead.
they take Caleb Williams. Justin Fields gets traded away to whatever team is going to trade and take him, and Cliff Kingsbury gets the gift of Jaden Daniels, or, in my opinion, Mr. May.
So, okay. Who do the Patriots get with the third pick?
Jaden Daniels. Okay, they're taking a rookie quarterback. Absolutely. Just like this is a scenario. This is the same scenario that you had back in Houston. A team that nobody thinks is capable of doing anything, with a rookie coach, a defensive-minded rookie coach. Does that sound familiar in New England? So this is a copycat league. So they're going to
there in that weather. I know we don't know what Gerard Mayo's
what
offense
they
is
got to
going to
do
look
with it.
like.
Forget the weather. Forget the weather.
I'm asking like the offensive coordinator. That's what
Okay.
I'm asking.
Okay. Well, we don't know. It's Gerard Mayo's show now. We don't know, and he's changing things up. I think, and Ramondre Stevenson is pleading to be the lead back. So we don't know if it's going to be a pass-happy offense or if it's going to be what most defensive coordinators have that turn into head coaches, a conservative offense was running the football. But I do believe they take Jaden Daniels as their launch point for the new era in New England.
That's interesting. Now, where does Marvin Harrison Jr. go? Does he go to the Cardinals at 4?
Yes. I do believe, yes, with a talent like that, you don't want that dropping down to a team. You don't want that dropping down too far to a team that, as you drop down in the draft, those teams get better because that's why they're down in the draft. Not the higher picking teams, the lower picking teams, the more quality players. And then Marvin Harrison is definitely one of the quality players that somebody can't wait to get their hands on. Somebody right now that's further down in the draft is trying to get up in the draft. They're trying to think of ways we can get up in the draft and grab Marvin Harrison, because we can think that the first 3 picks are going to be quarterbacks. The next pick after that is going to be Marvin Harrison Jr. Do we want the Cardinals to get that talent to Arizona, or can we move up and get Marvin Harrison Jr. and mold him in the way we want to in
Mhm.
our offense. So I'm telling you right now, there's going to be people and things being talked about. As long as Marvin Harrison shows out well in the combine next week, which I do believe he will, and even if he doesn't, the talent is there. You've seen it in college. That somebody's going to try to move up and grab him, and grab him. Give Arizona a boatload of picks or something that's advantageous for Arizona to pick up a quality wide receiver, young stud wide receiver in Marvin Harrison Jr.
Okay. Well, the impact that I see is a little different because if the players go to where I think they're going to go, I think Harrison becomes the number 1 or number 2 pick in the draft. I don't think he falls down all the way to 4 or 5, or somebody has opportunity to jump up and get him. But again, Fields is not worth a first-round pick. He's not. So the Bears could trade him for a second-round pick. They could. That's what the word is. They could trade him for a third-round pick. That's probably where his real value is right now. Given that Caleb Williams is an unproven NFL quarterback, if he's selected at number 1 and Fields stays on the team, I believe there'll be a competition.
That ain't happening.
And wait a minute. And what will happen to Chicago's opportunities will transition to next year where they trade Justin Fields during the draft or during the preseason just before the season starts and hands the title of starter to Caleb Williams. They want Justin Fields to show, hey, I still exactly what you said. That's what Chicago wants. But he really didn't show he was worth anything this year. Why? I don't know why he didn't show it until the end. But if you trade for him, you have the option of hitting him with that 5th-year option. And that's key because he's not going to cost you as much money. And if you like him, you can franchise him.
All the more reason why you trade.
Wait a minute. For 3 years, just like Chicago had him for 3 years, you could have him for 3 years.
All the more reason why you trade him.
Well, again, it depends on, who's willing to give up what. And are they definitely going to get Caleb Williams and just hand the job to him? And I don't think you get Caleb Williams and just hand the job to him. I think if you do get Caleb Williams and you have Justin Fields in the building, you make it very awkward and say, okay, 2 first overall picks in the NFL draft. 1 is going to be the starter and the other will be on our bench, knowing you're going to trade one. You're not trading Caleb Williams, but you got to put the perception out there that Justin Fields still is somebody we're going to value, so that you as an organization will value him just as much as we do, so we can get more from you. I've seen stranger things happen. What you can't say it's impossible, especially when you look at what Green Bay has done over the years. Over the years, Green Bay has done it. So it's not impossible.
That's Green Bay. We're talking about whole different organization.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is it's not beyond the realm of possibility. That's my point. You're saying it's not going to happen. It's crazy. And I'm like, no, it's not.
They're
Because
going to trade Justin Fields. They're not going to put two quarterbacks like that in the same room.
there's a possibility that they could. I think if they don't trade him to Atlanta, that it's a high likelihood, and if they don't trade him during the draft, it's highly likely that he's going to be in the same room with Caleb Williams. If Chicago drafts Caleb Williams,
Chicago's going to draft Caleb Williams, and they're going to trade Justin Fields for draft capital. That's plain and simple. That's basic stuff, man. Come on.
No, it's not. And you know why? I'm using your argument against you right now. What did you say was the problem that Justin Fields suffered last year?
He didn't have any weapons. I told you that.
Exactly. So
wherever he goes, he's going to have weapons. Whether he goes to
let's say
he's going to have weapons.
Let's say he gets Marvin Harrison Jr. or Chicago gets Marvin Harrison Jr. That's a weapon at the number one spot that could pair with DJ Moore. And I already told you, I believe Marvin Harrison Jr. is probably going to go 1 or 2, or should go 1 and 2 or 2.
Look, I'm not disagreeing with you, but if you have a chance, and most teams, and teams that need quarterbacks, if you have a chance to pick up what you perceive as a franchise quarterback, you're going to do that.
But he's not a franchise quarterback.
Who? Caleb Williams?
No. Justin Fields. I know what you're saying. The Chicago thinks that Caleb Williams is a franchise quarterback.
Absolutely.
But what team is willing to take on Justin Fields and understanding that he's going to have to start once you get him? Because you're giving up capital.
I just told you two quarterback needy teams that have weapons, but the quarterbacks that they had in this past season or the season before that didn't live up to what they thought. So they have to move on and get either trade for a quarterback or draft them. And where Atlanta is and where the Steelers are, their best bet is to get a trade to get a quarterback in Justin Fields in one of those two teams.
I don't think Pittsburgh's giving up on Kenny.
Okay. All I can tell you is the coach, Mike Tomlin, loves Justin Fields. I don't know what to tell you. He likes Justin Fields. Okay.
He might, but they might not be a good fit.
Okay. Hey, that's your opinion. That's mine. I'm telling you, he's got. Let me put it this way.
How often does Pittsburgh trade for, those type of players?
Just listen to what you just said. Just listen to what you said. Green Bay. You talking about Green Bay and how often? And I'm just saying.
I just asked you how often does Pittsburgh trade for that type of player? I didn't say nothing about keeping
but you said
you
compared another team to Green Bay. Come on, man.
No, bro, go ahead. Because all I said is how often does Pittsburgh trade for that type of player or that position?
Let me put it this way: if you have an opportunity to get in your view, a franchise quarterback, whether it be a trade or be the draft, you go and get that player. Regardless, you go and get that player.
Even though Pickett has more wins than him? Double the wins, actually?
And Pickett had – oh, man, come on. Let me ask you something. Let me ask you something.
Pickett played in a much harder division, too. But go ahead, ask your question.
But does Kenny Pickett have more weapons on his team, more viable weapons on his team than Justin Fields? By far, Kenny Pickett has better weapons and more weapons on the Pittsburgh Steelers than the Chicago Bears do. Come on, man.
So the caliber.
Better wide receivers, better tight end, and better.
Okay, that's fine. You can say that. Better pizza, Papa John's. We can say that. But we both agree that the AFC North is the best division in football last year.
Absolutely.
So when you're playing the caliber of teams in the AFC North twice, plus their regular schedule versus the caliber of teams the NFC North faces, and in the conference of the NFC, there's a big distinction of what you can do as an organization, as a team. Chicago, by all rights, had a way easier schedule than Pittsburgh, way easier. And they still managed not to get as many wins as Pittsburgh did, even though their starting running back, Najee Harris, was struggling behind a piss-poor offensive line, which we agree on. Even though they weren't getting the ball to the wide receivers as much as they should have, hence
and that was a fault.
And Washington.
That was a fault of what? They weren't getting the ball to the wide receivers. Who's that fault? Who's that fall on?
Listen.
That falls on the quarterback.
Listen, I didn't say it wasn't the quarterback. What I'm telling you is Kenny Pickett
might not that dude.
Kenny Pickett might not be as gifted as Justin Fields, but he's a better quarterback than Justin Fields.
Hell no. Okay.
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
Yes, he is. And it's
I don't know. I tried to tell you guys earlier.
Oh my goodness.
Before the season started, Kenny Pickett was not that guy. And
no one said he was. No one said he was.
Oh, both of you said Kenny Pickett was.
No, what I'm saying.
Come on. Both of you said
what I'm telling you is he's better than Justin Fields.
And I tried to tell you Kenny Pickett was not that dude. And it took the whole season for you to realize that when I could see it a mile away that Kenny Pickett ain't that dude.
But he's better than Justin Fields.
And Pittsburgh Steelers now realize that, and they're trying to go out and get another quarterback. Okay?
No, they're not actually. It's just rumors.
Okay. Let me put it this way. If I was a betting person about the Pittsburgh Steelers acquiring another quarterback, I bet on it.
Okay.
I bet.
Are you looking for a starting quarterback or just a quarterback? Because I believe they're gonna get a quarterback, but I don't think they're out there.
I don't. Let me put it this way. I think Pittsburgh is looking for a starting quarterback. Okay. They have two quarterbacks right now in Rudolph and Pickett that are good backups. Okay. Good backups. And they're looking for a starting quarterback. You think Mike Tomlin doesn't know that? You think the coaching staff doesn't realize Kenny Pickett ain't that dude? He's a very good backup, but he's not a consistent starter.
Okay, but he's also better than your boy Fields in my book. But let's move on from that because we're going to talk about we talked about where we think the quarterbacks are going to land in the draft. Now, when we talk about this combine coming up, does the combine I mean, I don't know if you've heard it or not. I know you've been busy. Several coaches have said they're not going to attend the combine because they've seen all they need to see on tape.
Speaking of that, McCarthy and Zimmer
are
going to be there.
McCarthy, Zimmer not showing up. McVay said he's not showing up. And a few others said they're not going to show up because they're going to trust the tape. Is this a big mistake? Or is the combine – basically, I'm asking, is the combine still relevant? That's the basis of my question. Is the combine still relevant?
When you said there were several coaches and then you named some coaches along with what I just named, my thought was that slowly but surely, with technology as it is, that the combine in itself may be become more and more irrelevant because of videotape, because of live feeds, because being able to see. The only drawback I see is that personal interaction, that personal feeling, that gut feeling that you get from one player to the other could be missing. And it could be a fatal flaw for these coaches especially coaches that are, in my opinion, on the hot seat. Okay, not being at the combine and not being able to talk and interact with a player, whether verbally, visually, in person, or just from the stands, and that could be a problem. Okay, now,
Well, go ahead.
but like I said, with technology as it is, you'll be able to see and talk to a person. Okay, maybe not in person, but on a Zoom call or something like that, in a interview room uh, with the owner. Say for instance, with Jerry Jones and his sons. They're going to be there.
Yes.
They're going to interact with guys verbally and visually and in person. But there's nothing to stop a coach or coaches like a McCarthy or Zimmer being in on a Zoom call, being able to talk and interact with this player, but not be in person.
I got you. I got you. And what I wanted to say about that is, I'm glad you mentioned it, because I was going to say it after you finish talking anyway. The decision making process, let's just use the Cowboys and the Rams, lies heavily with the general manager. In Dallas case, they don't have a real general manager. It's Jerry's son, Steven Jackson. I mean Steven Stephen Jones, who does all the assessing, things of that nature. I don't think Mike McCarthy's say in these picks are relevant because he's a lame duck coach. Him, Mike Tomlin, and I forgot the other coach. They're lame duck coaches. They're on their last year of their contracts.
Was Chicago coach?
No, he's not a lame duck coach. He has like one more year. So he has 2 years, I should say. Lame duck coach is on the last year of the contract. But I would think part of the reason why McCarthy's not coming is because we're drafting for the future, and you might not be part of that future. Versus Sean McVay, who's heavy into the analytics, who's heavy into the film study, who's heavy into all that stuff, and Les Snead and company are very, very dialed in on talent. They haven't had a first-round pick since 2016, 2017. They found Puka Nacua in the third or fourth round? Whatever. They found him at 177. And Puka Nacua was fighting or vying for Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
They found several starters on that team in the later rounds this past year, and they far exceeded the expectation.
Well, that happens every year, man.
Well,
that happens every year.
But what I'm saying is, McVay not going to the combine, to me, is not that big of a deal versus McCarthy not going to the combine.
Oh yeah, I understand. I understand what you're saying.
That's my point.
Yep.
When you have other coaches saying they're not going to show up, are they lame duck? Are they? How much say do they have in personnel? Like, I learned that Martin Mayhew was the general manager of Washington, but the personnel decisions really landed on Ron Rivera as to who he wanted.
Okay.
So, and Ron Rivera was at the combines and stuff like that. Who
you think that? I
believe he was hired as no. I know he was being interviewed by Dallas, but I don't know if he got hired by anybody else.
Do you think that was a mistake? That the Rivera, the personnel decisions?
Yes, I do, because he brought in players from Carolina that brought the culture, but also brought some losing mentality.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. When Ron Rivera first became the coach, he brought Davis, the middle linebacker, over with him, because Davis went to Thomas Davis. Yes, he was in San Diego at the time, but came to play 1 year with Washington under Ron to bring in the system and the culture. but Dwayne Haskins was the quarterback. And instead of, so what happened was Thomas Davis was trying to correct some of the flaws he noticed in practice with Dwayne Haskins, but Haskins wasn't hearing it. So he kept making the same mistakes over and over and over again. Point being, if I'm Ron Rivera and my guy I brought in to change the culture and the system, or to put our system in, whether it's defense or offense, don't matter, says he's been trying to work with this kid from the middle linebacker position and the kid just isn't picking up, I got to either listen to what he's saying or say, nah, you don't know what you're talking about. He's going to be better, and we'll rob him. They rode with Dwayne Haskins. And needless to say, we were terrible. Dwayne, God rest his soul, didn't last much longer, and he was out of there. We skipped an opportunity to get one of the better linebackers in the draft, and we got Jamin Davis. Freak athlete, but not a really good linebacker. He can chase down the quarterback, he can chase down plays, but he can cover nobody, and he doesn't diagnose plays really well. So I would say Ron's decision-making and Martin Mayhew's ability, or giving him the ability to have some final say, or the ownership, Dan Snyder, whoever gave Ron Rivera that power, was a big mistake. I think it was a big mistake because the culture did change, but the same losing activity that the Panthers had before followed. Decision makings on the games and on the field, it hurt. And that's what I'm saying. When you go to the combine start Tuesday, right? Having a coach there, the head coach, I should say, to me, says that head coach has a lot of say come draft day.
The head coach should have a lot of say. He should have a lot of say. In my opinion, the head coach should have a lot of say, because even though the general manager makes the final decision, you should weigh heavily on what the coach wants, because the coach is actually interacting, and his coaches are teaching those players what they want them to do. So he should have a lot of say, in my opinion. Look, I know you may like this player, but I think player B is better than player A, because he fits more into what I want to do. I know this player A may have a lot of talent, but it doesn't seem like he's able to pick up or able to do what I want him to do versus player B. I prefer player B. And what happens? The coach has to coach him. Okay,
Yep.
regardless of whoever makes the final decision, the coach has to coach him. If he doesn't coach him, and that player doesn't perform, that reflects on the coach, and the reflection on the coach reflects on whether he stays or not. So, in my opinion, the coach should have a lot of say, and should weigh on what players he wants to get the most out of his coaching, versus having a player pushed on him that he really didn't feel that can do what he wants him to do, even though he's coaching him the same way as he's coaching player A that he doesn't really want, versus player B that he really wanted, and that player doesn't show exactly what the coach wants, and doesn't show what the organization wants. That player may not be there anymore. Neither will that coach, because he didn't get the most out of them, or out of them. Several players. That coach should. I mean, let me put it this way. I don't think he should have the overall say, but he should have some type of say on what players he gets. So I don't subscribe completely to Bill Parcells, that he should have all the groceries or whatever, but I think he should be able to pick and choose what players he wants to, and be able to get the most out of those players for his coaching.
Okay. Well, I thought that was interesting that a lot of coaches decide they're not going to show up and
Yeah, that surprised me.
and stuff like that. But
That's surprising.
then when I thought about it, I was like, okay, some of these coaches that are not showing up, they're like, as you said, on the hot seat.
Yeah,
They're lame duck coaches.
yeah.
So then I thought, well, then again, it doesn't surprise me because if they don't perform or the teams don't perform to a higher standard, they're gone. It's like Cowboys. Cowboys been 12-3 or 12 wins or better
Yep.
the past 3 years.
Exactly.
And there has been no increase in where they go in the playoffs.
Yep.
It's been one and done or one win and done. So those regular season games, oh, you're a good regular season coach. It's just like what we said, or you have said about Marty Schottenheimer. You can get me but so far, but after that, you can't get me to the big game. And that sucked because Bobby Ross took the Chargers to the Super Bowl a year or two after Marty Schottenheimer was let go. You know? But Marty Schottenheimer could get him close, just not take him over the finish line. And the comment in our fantasy football chat about Kyle Shanahan, being a Dan Reeves, I say that because he can win. And it took Dan Reeves a long time to get a Super Bowl victory. However, the current NFL won't be that patient. Sammy says that Lynch and Shanahan are tied to the hip. When one goes, both go. And I can understand that. But they're coming up on hard times financially in a year. Next year, they're going to have to decide what to do about certain players. Letting this person go, letting that person go, cutting salaries, not re-signing people. Just a quick question on this, and we can move away from it. I want to talk about college basketball. Where do you see the 49ers landing next year? On the last year of Purdy's low dollar contract. Meaning, do you think they're going to flush some players now or flush them next year or what? Because of the money.
Slowly but surely, players are going. I think Brandon Ayuk is not going to be with the team next year. I think the peak 49ers, you just saw it. I think the peak of the 49ers, you just saw it. From here, it's just like going to the Aspen, going to a ski resort, getting on a ski lift, getting to the top of the mountain, and there's only one way to go. That's down. And I think the 49ers, not this year, not 24, they don't win the division. They may make the playoffs. I see them making the playoffs. But
so you think the Rams are going to win the division?
Big competition. Okay. I don't think the 49ers are going to win the division this year or next year. Okay. I think the peak of the 49ers was this year.
So, I mean, that only leaves three other teams. The Rams, the Cardinals, who I know you don't think are going to win much with my boy Kyler, and Seattle. Seattle just converted Geno's salary into a signing bonus, and they're rebuilding because they just got a new head coach. You think one of those teams are going to win a division?
Let me put it this way. And I'm not saying they're going to be, but I can see the 49ers. I can see the NFC West being and I know you're going to say, oh, no, this ain't going to happen. I can see the NFC West being the AFC South. Yeah, I figured I'd get that. I figured I'd get that reaction. Because I told you that you were going to get that. You were going to give me that reaction.
I mean,
I'm not saying. Listen, just understand what I'm saying here.
of last year or just in general?
I'm
'Cause
saying
last year AFC South was very, very competitive, and nobody thought it would be.
that's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay.
That's
All right.
exactly. I said it's going to be extremely competitive, and it's going to come down to the last few games on who wins the division. And I don't think it's going to be the 49ers. Let me put it that way, because I think all these teams are going to do with an AFC North type of thing, knocking each other off and down. And they're going to be relatively the same records, give or take 1 or 2 games. But I think it's not the AFC South, but in comparison, that's the type of comparison. I'm not saying the quality of the teams, but what I'm saying is that the teams are going to be closely aligned with each other. So, and be highly competitive. So, the best that you saw of the 49ers was this year, because they were gelling on all cylinders. I don't think that's going to happen next year.
Okay.
Or later on this year, starting in 2024.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. However, I want to transition real quick to college basketball, men's college basketball, as we get ready to end the regular season of college basketball. My boy, he says, let's be honest, no one in that division can stop the 49ers. I think they went 12-0 the last 2 years, unless Ayuk leaves. Now, here's the deal. Brother,
what's the first thing I said about? I said the Ayuk first before I said anything else about the 49ers.
Well, and I'm going to say this about Ayuk. I think Ayuk is a contract year baby.
Oh no, he was underused. Let me put it that way.
Well,
because
he was always hurt. He was always hurt.
He wasn't. He wasn't always hurt this year. He was. I'm
not talking about this year. I'm talking about years past. I would say this: if he should not receive the same type of compensation or the level of compensation as Debo. I think he's below Debo, but he's going to want the compensation of Debo.
Listen to what you just said. Listen to what you just said.
I just said he's not at the same level as Debo, and he doesn't deserve the same type of money.
I totally disagree. I totally disagree.
Okay, let me finish my thought.
Let me ask you.
Wait a minute. Let me finish my thought here. So,
wow,
I don't agree, or I don't believe Brandon Ayuk is a number 1 wide receiver. He does not deserve number 1 wide receiver money. Is he an impact player? Yes. But if I put Brandon Ayuk on, let me see, who needs if I put Brandon Ayuk on the Giants, does he change the fortune of the Giants? Hell no.
That's because of the quarterback.
No, I got it. However, when you have a frontline guy like DeAndre Hopkins, who's going to be a free agent, and this is the other part I wanted to talk about before we go to college basketball. I'm glad my boy brought this up, Brody. Love you, brother. Because I want to say, what happens with Mike Evans if he goes to Kansas City? What happens with DeAndre Hopkins if he goes to Kansas City? So that's where I'm going with this.
That's a big difference.
But listen what I'm saying.
Big difference.
Just listen what I'm saying. Frontline receivers, number 1 receivers that get number 1 receiver money, change the fortunes of the team. When Will Levis took over, what did we see happen? You called Hopkins washed. I said, you crazy. He's not washed. They're not throwing him the ball. When Levis got in the game and became the quarterback, what happened? Hopkins was Hopkins again, right? He was getting 9, 10 targets a game and tearing it up, being valuable again, right? A number one threat. In fact, he was part of the main reasoning as to why Tennessee made a push. Not Derrick Henry. Tajay Spears had a little bit something to do with it, but mainly because they were getting the ball to Hopkins. Brandon Ayuk cannot do the same things for a team like Hopkins. My thoughts. I know you want to say something about that, but also keep in mind that we're talking about Mike Evans to Kansas City or Hopkins to Kansas City. I think that puts Kansas City back in the Super Bowl automatically. Just my thoughts. But go ahead. Say what you say.
And you were talking about Debo and Brandon Ayuk, and you think that Debo is a better wide receiver than Brandon Ayuk?
I think overall, if you look at their body of work, not just this year.
I'm glad you said that, because Debo, how many times over the last few years versus Brandon Ayuk has Debo been hurt? He gets hurt every year.
Yeah, they're running him. They're throwing to him.
I don't care.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't care
Jerry,
less about
I know you're talking about health, and I can agree with you. I can agree with you on health. But that's what happens when you have a top-tier guy. You use him way more than you use the secondary guy.
70 this past year, Debo got hurt. 75 receptions for Ayuk, 60 for Debo.
Okay.
105 targets for Ayuk versus 89 for Debo. 1,342 yards versus 892 yards. Yards per reception, 17.9 for Brandon Ayuk, 14.9 for Debo. Okay. The longest was a 76-yard touchdown versus 54 for Debo.
How many rushing touchdowns did Brandon Ayuk have? And how many rushing touchdowns or let me go opportunities. How many rushes did Debo have versus Ayuk? Not even touchdowns, just rushing attempts.
37 versus 0.
Oh, so he's not that he can't be used in a different capacity, apparently. That's my point. I get what you're saying.
Wait a minute.
I get what you're saying.
Let me ask you something. How many rushing attempts did Mike Evans have? How many rushing attempts did
he had about 5. He had about 5 or 6.
Come on, 5 is inconsequential.
But
come on, stop.
No.
How many rushing attempts did DeAndre Hopkins have? Come on, man. Stop. Stop it.
That I saw. He had 2 that I saw.
Stop it. But the point I'm making is number one wide receivers aren't rushers.
I got that.
Have a whole bunch of rushers.
I got that.
Let me put it this way. If I had a team and I'm looking for a wide receiver, I'm gonna take Brandon Ayuk over Debo.
What?
Yep. I'm gonna take Brandon Ayuk over Debo.
But you're okay. So
because the fact, wait a minute, I'm not missing anything. Because the fact is, I can count on Brandon Ayuk being more healthy than Debo.
Okay. Health-wise, I see your point. But let me ask you a question.
You're really reaching now.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Because
look at that comment.
I'm going to go into your I ain't worried about. He didn't show up today, so he don't get to put his comment. Put his comment up. I love you, brother,
now,
but I'm not putting your comment up.
You pick and choose comments.
Listen to what I'm saying.
Choose comments.
Listen to what I'm saying. Yes, I can because it's my show. This is what I'm saying.
Choose comment. Come on, man.
I'm gonna go to your wheelhouse. I'm gonna go to your wheelhouse, Jerry.
Go right ahead.
Here's your wheelhouse.
Go right ahead.
Are you taking Derrick Henry over CMC? Or are you taking CMC over Derrick Henry?
CMC.
Why? Tell me why.
CMC is a better running back. He's more versatile. Okay.
More versatile. There you go. More
He's
versatile.
more
versatile, right?
But he's a running back versus a wide receiver. Stop.
Listen.
Stop.
Yeah, he's a running back,
Oh
but
my
he
God.
gets receptions, right? He has a lot of receptions, don't he?
The more effective running back is a running back that catches a football.
That's because he's more versatile, right? Like you said.
You can use him in the passing game.
Yeah, you sure can.
That's right.
Sure. And you can use Debo in the run game as well.
You can't compare a wide receiver and wait a minute. And Debo fought for his contract. You know why he fought for his contract? Because he wanted.
They were using him.
Wait a minute. You know why the reason why he fought for the type of contract he wanted?
Because they was using him as a running back.
Because he was a wide receiver. He was
a wide receiver, and he was also getting used as a running back.
Stop it, man. Stop it. You can't.
Oh my gosh.
You can't. I would every day of the week, and I guarantee I would get more production every day of the week. I would take Debo.
I'm gonna put a poll out there. Fine. For those watching. And then I'm gonna do it on my Facebook page. Who would you rather have? Brandon Ayuk or Debo Samuels?
Well, I mean, people are gonna gravitate to Debo because everybody has a name recognition. Come on, man. You know that what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Here's what I'll say, though. You know
exactly what I'm saying.
Brock Purdy said when asked if he had one pass to throw, this was during the Super Bowl, and it was an interview. I believe Kurt Warner asked him the question. He said, if you had one pass that you had to throw and it had to be complete, what route is it and who's getting it? He said it's an in route to Ayuk because he just catches those types of things. I don't even have to know. I can just throw it in his direction.
Yep.
So on that, I would say this year, Debo was not better than Ayuk. But over the duration of the time they've been together, Debo has proven he is way more valuable than Ayuk. Because we're talking about health, look at the last couple years prior to this year.
And Debo
got
hurt. And Debo's gotten hurt, man. Come on, man.
I get that because they're using him in more than just as a receiver.
I could care less. Players get used.
But you just said you would rather have a player that's versatile over a player that just does one thing, right?
Look.
You said that.
But I said, and you just didn't listen to what I just said. I said Brandon Ayuk's a better wide receiver than Debo. That's exactly what I said. Okay. Well, see, it don't make a difference what I say because whatever you think is the right thing.
No. It isn't. But what I'm saying is you can't tell me that I'm wrong. I can
tell you that, but
no. What I'm saying is you can't tell me I'm wrong for thinking the way I think. I didn't say you were wrong. You're saying I'm wrong. I'm saying I don't agree with you. You said, no, you're wrong. And I said, no, it's not that I'm wrong. It's just I don't agree with you.
I can't rely on Debo to stay healthy. That's why I think he's a better player and better wide receiver. He's more consistent. Debo,
so if they don't run Debo, do you think he gets injured as often?
Yep. Because that's what type of player he is. That's the type. He gets nicked up. He's a physical. Let me put it this way. In my opinion, Debo, and there's a lot of players like that have a problem staying healthy. And Debo is one of them. He's a physical player. And when physical players do things that put them in situations to get hurt.
I'm gonna put this up, Q. I would say this.
Yes, that's exactly my point. He's a more
and I disagree with
player.
you.
Okay.
I mean, listen, I don't think he's a better route runner.
Oh my God. Okay.
But I will say this.
Wow.
Ayuk was drafted before. No, he wasn't. Debo was drafted a year before Ayuk. And that's why Debo's contract got done before Ayuk's contract got done. The difference is
Name recognition, man.
Wait, no, I'm not saying name recognition.
Yeah, it is.
I'm saying Ayuk, his first couple years, always had a hamstring issue, right? So that's when they decided to bring Jennings. They decided to do all these other players. But Debo became an option in the run game because they couldn't have Tevin Coleman, not Tevin Coleman. What's the backup to CMC now? I forgot his name.
Elijah Mitchell.
Elijah Mitchell was a starting running back, and all these other players, so on and so forth. But none of them could stay healthy. And then Kyle Shanahan was like, okay, Debo can do this. We're going to run him a lot. Well, Ayuk is a better as a receiver, but Debo is a better all-around player. Swiss Army knife. That's supposed to be. That's why he's always hurt.
Exactly.
To depend on someone, it would definitely be Ayuk.
Absolutely. That's what I said.
Now, again, that's y'all's opinion. I'm saying if I had to depend on somebody, it would be Debo.
Okay.
But
right.
Being the better overall player and making frontline first number one receiver money, I don't give it to Brandon.
I tell you what, come this fantasy draft, and whatever round it is, you before me, you have a chance to take Ayuk or Debo. Please take Debo.
Oh, I am.
Because I'm going to go right behind you.
Because Brandon's going to be on a different team. He's going to be on a different team trying to learn. And the word is that Jacksonville is going to pursue him since they're not happy with Calvin Ridley. And I'm like, they're not throwing Calvin Ridley the ball, so you can't be not happy with them. But whatever. So if Brandon Ayuk, Christian Kirk, and Zay Jones are the receivers, that'll be interesting. Because I guarantee you, he'll still be second fiddle to Christian Kirk.
Not when Trevor Lawrence sees the ability of Brandon Ayuk. He said, Brandon, you getting the ball. Maybe not as much as you would get it in San Francisco, but I'm guaranteeing you're going to get the ball.
Oh, no. It would have to be more because San Francisco is a run-heavy team. The Jaguars throw the ball like crazy.
Okay, so
if he ain't getting the ball like he was in San Francisco, he should be getting it more, not less.
I guarantee you, okay, Brandon Ayuk goes to another team.
He will.
They're going to view him as the number one wide receiver. Well, you know why? Because he's going to want to get paid as the number one wide receiver.
I know that.
And if he's going to get number one wide receiver, number one paid wide receivers get paid, get played, and get targeted as number ones. Because teams want to get their money's worth.
No, I agree with you. Remember, we had a very similar conversation, but the reverse when it came to Christian Kirk leaving Arizona and going to Jacksonville. We were on the opposite sides of that. Whereas I was saying what you said about Christian Kirk. You're like, no, he ain't worth it. He ain't da-da-da-da. And then when Jacksonville got your boy Calvin Ridley, I was like, nah, man, Ridley's the number one guy. Ridley's the number one guy. He should be. He wasn't. Christian Kirk was because he had the familiarity and it was comfortable for Trevor Lawrence. Now, wherever Brandon Ayuk lands, it's going to be interesting because let's say I already said if Mike Evans goes to Kansas City, they win the Super Bowl again. If DeAndre Hopkins goes to Kansas City, they win the Super Bowl again. If Brandon Ayuk goes to Kansas City,
they're going to win the Super Bowl again.
I don't think they win the Super Bowl.
Oh, hell. What?
I think he becomes Rashid Rice 2.0. Well, Rashid Rice and he complement each other, but not one of them being the guy. That's my point. I don't think he becomes the guy. But wait a minute. I'll let you enlighten me in a second. But if Cincinnati does what they're going to do or rumored to do, which is franchise tag T. Higgins. If he goes, here's the thing: if he goes to Cincinnati, you know he's not going to be the number one guy.
Let me tell you,
Tyler Boyd. Here's what I'm saying:
Tyler Boyd's leaving. Tyler Boyd is free agent.
Tyler Boyd is leaving,
Yep.
and T. Higgins, if he gets franchised, so they can pay Jamar Chase this year. Brandon Ayuk goes there knowing, okay, well,
He ain't
I'm
going.
not going to be the number one guy.
He's not going to Cincinnati. He's not going.
And they're not going to be able to pay him.
And let me give you this. Let me give you this interesting stat because this is interesting.
Really, really cute.
20. Yeah, that's why I was laughing. 20 plus receptions for last year. Brandon Ayuk had 42. You know how much more your boy Debo had? 30.
What are you talking about? 20 yards or more?
20 yards or more. 20 yards or more. 42 to 30. Okay. I'm telling you underestimated pay attention to the and I've said this before and I'll say it again. Pay attention to the numbers, not the name.
You see what he said?
Name. Pay attention to the numbers, not the name.
No, Skip. No, Skip. No, Skip. Look.
Pay attention.
Debo
may have the name, but Brandon Ayuk got the numbers.
Bro. Listen what I'm saying. Debo Samuels has earned his contract.
I didn't say he didn't.
And can I freaking finish? Debo Samuels has earned his contract. Brandon Ayuk is trying to get a similar or better contract. I'm saying he does not deserve it because he has not proven over a long period that he will earn it. Debo showed that I'm durable. Playing running back and receiver for you guys. But I want this clause in my contract if I have X amount of rushes. So they put in the contract, and guess what happened? They didn't rush him that much. They still rushed him, but not as much.
He got hurt. And he got hurt.
Yeah, because they were rushing him.
He got hurt on a pass play. He got hurt on a pass play. He didn't get hurt on a rush.
I don't recall that.
He got hurt on a pass play.
I don't recall. I thought it was
okay. No,
it might have been a bubble screen. I think it was a bubble screen. So pass play.
Okay.
I think it was a bubble screen.
He can't stay healthy. He's always hurt.
But again, Brandon Ayuk stayed hurt at the beginning of his career for the first 2 years. Now he came into his own this year, not last year, not the year before, this year. So that's why I'm saying the man is a contract year baby. Because
he's on his way up. He's on his way up. And Debo, I think you've seen the most of Debo. Debo is what you see. He's always getting hurt. Brandon Ayuk is ascending. Debo is either descending or he plateaued already. I'm saying, I'm sorry. I apologize if you can't see that, but Brandon Ayuk is a better wide receiver, Skip. I mean, hey, Skip. No, you Skip. No, you're Skip. I'm not Skip. Not even close.
You are. You're the one wearing your whole team and Ohio colors like Skip riding the Dallas Cowboys. I don't do that.
Okay.
All the time, you do.
I'm surprised. Hey, at least I wear my colors. At least I'm not switching up like you switched up today.
I'm not switching up.
What you got on today?
Oh, I got on the Falcons.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
I got on the Falcons.
Yeah, look at the comment. Come on, man. Stop.
I can wear I can wear whatever it is I want to wear.
Well, hey, can't I?
You sure can, but I don't are such a brown rider that
wait a minute. I don't comment on anything you wear until you start commenting on what I wear. Okay.
Always comment on what you wear.
Yeah, I know you always. That's what you do. You just like
because you always wear something Cleveland. I mean, that's what's wrong with that. I just say you wear something Cleveland.
Okay. Okay.
Anyway,
I'm just saying. Okay.
anyway, the bottom line for me is I like Mike Evans going to Kansas City and winning a Super Bowl. I like, excuse me, DeAndre Hopkins going to Kansas City win a Super Bowl. I don't think wherever Brandon Ayuk goes, he's going to be that major of an impact player.
Wait a minute. So let me ask you the question. 20 plus receptions, 42 plus receptions, over 20 yards.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Where would that fit? Would 15 like that? I think 15 may like that if it's a possibility.
15.
15.
Oh, Pat Mahomes.
I think he would like that.
I said if he goes to Kansas City, he and Rashee Rice are the same player.
Oh, not even close. Not even close.
I think so.
No,
I even think Rashee Rice is better.
Rashee Rice is a short yardage player.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
Oh, no.
He's better. He's better in the middle of the field than he is stretching the field. He's better middle of the field than he is stretching the field. He's a slot. He's a great slot wide receiver. Great slot.
I think Rashee Rice and Brandon Ayuk are the same player.
No way.
Rashee Rice might even be better.
You know what? That's all right. Vic. That's all right.
What?
You remind me of Skip Bayless with your crazy takes, but that's okay. That's all right. You tell me Rashee Rice is better than Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah.
Now, is that?
I think he will be and is better than Brandon Ayuk.
Is that jersey too tight? Is it cutting off the circulation?
I can ask you the same thing about that tight ass sweater you got on.
This sweater's not tight.
It looked like it.
It's form fitting.
Well, that means you're a big guy. But anyway,
no,
here we go.
I am definitely not a big guy. See,
I know you're not. It's a baby sweater. Anyway,
negative things to say. I don't.
You just said something about me. Oh my God!
I'm just reciprocating. Okay, I'm just bringing the heat back to you. Okay, I'm
not hot. I'm not the one with a sweater on.
I'm just turning what I'm just turning reflection. I'm putting reflection back on you. Okay.
Well, I look good. I don't know about you, but
okay.
Anyway.
All right.
Your thoughts on, and we'll get out of here after this. Your thoughts on where Mike Evans may land if he doesn't go back to Tampa Bay?
I don't know, man. I mean, he's going to be in high demand, 1,000 yards every year he's been there. What, he's been in the league 10 years?
I'm sorry. I just realized something.
What's that?
What if Brandon Ayuk leaves and Mike Evans goes to San Francisco? Oh, my God. But go ahead.
Let me put it this way. I'm going to say this. I'm going to keep saying this, and I'm going to keep saying it. San Francisco's best year was this past year. The best year was this past year. Everything worked out. Players didn't have any major injuries that pushed one of the key players out for the season. You can't count on that every year. I'm saying they're going to be in descending mode come 2024. So regardless of if Mike Evans takes the place of Brandon Ayuk, I still feel that way. Okay? I still feel that way.
Okay. All right. Well, with that being said, we're going to come to the end of the show. I don't want to put you on the spot and say you're going to have something, but do you have something set for tomorrow?
I'm going to be talking about players going to the combine, offensive players that are going to matter in fantasy. Talking about running backs, wide receivers, and maybe some even tight ends. Talking about players that are going to matter going into the NFL combine, which starts next Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, starts next Thursday. And if I'm not mistaken, running backs and wide receivers, I think, are going to be, or the running backs and tight ends. I'm trying to think who's going to be on Saturday.
Normally, the DBs close it out.
Yeah,
if
but
I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I said running back and tight ends. So when I'm thinking, for the first time in the combine, I think they're going to put the running backs with another position group, and it should be interesting. It may be quarterbacks, if I'm not mistaken. I think there's going to be running backs and another key position that are going to be showcased pretty much on Saturday.
Okay. So you're going to talk about the players that are or the folks that are going to be going on Tuesday, or just those two positions?
I'm talking about running backs and wide receivers.
Okay. So just two positions.
Yeah. Let me just see here.
Okay.
And let me see what's going to happen here. See if I can. I'm looking up the schedule now. See if I can. Oh, okay. Okay. Thursday, defensive linemen and linebackers testing on Thursday. Friday will be the defensive backs and the tight ends. That's interesting. Okay. And yet they changed it around, man. DBs are not going to end it. And like I said, they're going to showcase these players on Saturday. Running backs, quarterbacks, wide receivers. Starts 1:00 on Saturday. And on Sunday, offensive linemen and the NFL Combine. So
you're talking about tomorrow.
Running backs and wide receivers.
All right, that's all I was worried about.
That's what I was talking. That's what I said. Running backs and wide receivers.
Okay.
All right. But in the NFL Combine, we get to talk about running backs, quarterbacks, wide receivers, because it starts at 1:00 on Saturday next Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. For no reason. Fantasy football. On Sunday, Facebook, X, and YouTube. Be there. I'm going to send an invite to you. I'm going to send an invite to in the chat, league chat, see if anybody wants to jump on and talk about whatever position they want to talk about. But I'm going to be talking about running backs and wide receivers. All right.
Okay.
All right.
We didn't get to talk about basketball today because I remembered the other topics that I wanted to jump into. Segue. But I want to let you guys know that this show has been brought to you by.
Here we go. Put me on the spot. Hey, Harold, don't be a zero. 50% off military discount. 624coffeecompany.com for more info. Visit the website, verify status, stop drinking dirty water. You deserve great coffee for great people. That's 624coffeecompany.com.
All right. With that being said, get you some coffee today. We appreciate you all, but we're out of here. See ya.
Fantasy, sports, and politics.
Get ready to rumble! You wanna talk smack? You in the right place. So take a step back before I get all up in your
Remember, because I don't remember. I remember every bit of this.
The other dudes holding on the phone line. Your voice will be heard, sir.
Next caller, please.
Oh!
Eric's gonna get him.
Fantasy, sports, and politics.